What's going on, guys? Jesse here with MFC Offroad. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of MFC Garage. We're actually going to show you today how to do the installation of the MFC Offroad rear wheel centering kit. We are going to show you today the correct way of lowering the actual rear trailing arm and the correct height that the wheel hub should be at so that there's no forward or sideways torsion on it. This way you're able to remove the bolts cleanly and not actually have to remove the trailing arm 100% to put the bushings in place. The design of these bushings is to relocate the lower rear trailing arm a little bit lower, so as it's pulled forward due to the actual lift being installed, it doesn't pull the wheel as forward as it would normally do without it. Being at a 1/2 inch in height, it's the safest and allowable amount to keep the most amount of threads from the factory bolt still attached to the body of the Jeep. So make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message. And as always, thank you for supporting MFC Offroad. All right, so we're going to be installing the rear wheel centering kit today. And the reason why you want to do a rear wheel centering kit is pretty much relative to whichever Cherokee you have. If you have a non-Trailhawk active drive 1, which means it's a latitude or longitude or any of the other models, trim levels that are not Trailhawk, and does not have the 4-wheel low option on the dial, if you have a dial, you're going to want to put this rear wheel centering kit on. That's an active drive 1, so it still has 4x4 mode, but it is not as advanced as the active drive 2 non-Trailhawk or the Trailhawk. And that pretty much consists of suspension components, axles, the differential, locker, everything like that. So basically, when this is lifted, this wants to swing forward because it's in an arc that comes like this. It's not parallel to the ground, but it's at an angle. So as this lifts, it swings forward because the trailing arm that's attached to the knuckle pulls it forward like this as it lifts. You'll see that when you lift your Jeep up, the wheel gets closer to the front fenders. So we've designed a bushing kit that goes between the trailing arm and the body to help counteract the amount of pull. Now, to safely do that with everything that is here and a cost-effective measure is to make these bushings 1/2 inch, because that'll leave enough thread still intact in the body so as to not have a shearing effect or movement with these factory bolts. So you're going to see how we can easily put them in here with a technique that we were able to discover on the height of the hub relative to the ground to not give any forward or lateral torsion on these screws. So once you have everything jacked up, stationary with jack stands, you're going to take your floor jack, put it underneath the lower control arm, and measure from center of the hub to the ground 21 inches. So currently we are at 14, so we gotta go 7 more inches up. Now that we have the wheel removed and everything opened up, we have 2 bolts here that attach the trailing arm to the body. We're going to have to drop those down to put the bushings in for the rear wheel centering kit. It uses an 18mm on both, and what we could do is use the impact on this side because you have more clearance, and we'll use the breaker bar on this side. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. One of the techniques that we're going to do we're going to get the jack, put it underneath here, and lift it up to take some tension off of the trailing arm, because we're going to want to keep it actually attached to the vehicle. So we're going to drop this all the way out, like so. Now we only dropped this one out enough so that this can be pulled down, the bushing put in, and the bolt realigned. So right now we want to get this axle nut about 21 inches off the ground. We're at 20, one more inch, and we'll be able to get under there really easily. Exactly 21 inches. So what that allows me to do is I'll get under here and be able to pry on that side. This will drop down, be able to slide this in, put the new bolt in. Got the bushing in. Now we're just doing it with our fingers, getting it all up in there. Okay, so that's nice and tight. This one. Move the other side. I'm going to take the other bushing and slide it in. It's literally that simple. Center it up. little bit of juice. One quick piece to lock it in. Now, we're just going to go get a ratchet and get this one in, and then torque the spec. Quarter turn at a time, but we do have a tool that'll speed this up. If you're using jack stands, you probably don't need to do this tool. Probably use the gun because this is just in the way. Torque the spec. To get our torque wrench in here, it's too tight, but the factory specs is 79 foot-pounds. So you can get a torque wrench in here, just can't get it because it's the body lines, and if I use an extension, the problem with using an extension is it doesn't leave you with the correct torque setting. So 79 foot-pounds for both. I ugga-dugga them at 1 ugga-dugga, so that's pretty much to spec, and we're going to go do the other side.